School. And I'm really happy that you joined me today to talk about how can we help our teens focus. A lot of what I've been talking to you all about this fall has been sort of how to help set your teen up for success academically at Stevenson. And one of the things that we know about teens is that their brains are developing so much, and they're highly distractible. So what do we talk about what do we think about when we talk about teens being really distractible? Everything is going on in front of them. They're thinking about their peers. They're thinking about you as their family. They're thinking about what happened in class. They're thinking about what are they going to do outside of class? What happened during passing periods? Everything is going on around them. And so how can we as the adults in their lives help them focus? So focus is a thinking skill. And it's interesting that kids are not born when they're little babies, they're not born with the skill to be able to focus in on something. And it's something that we as the adults in students' lives and at Stevenson we help students work on the skill of focusing, being able to concentrate. Being able to focus allows someone to begin a task and without procrastination, and then maintain their attention and then finish the task. So complete, maintain, focus on it, and complete the task. So it's hard to focus on one thing because you have to make the decision that you want to do that thing rather than all the other things that are claiming your attention. And you know your teen best. Some students can focus in the middle of a central living space and get their work done. Some students need to be off on their own. Some students are okay or better listening to some kind of music. There is actually a little bit of a study, if your student says, I listen better when I'm listening to music, there are some studies that say that's actually true, but you know your teen best, and you know if that works for them. And there's a saying that what you don't do determines what you can do. So if you're not distracted by a lot of different things, you can focus on one thing. So what we want to do as the adults in our teens' life is help them focus and prioritize what they need to do and say no to all the things that are trying to get their attention so that they can be productive and they can focus on what needs to be done. So how would we do that? Well, there are a lot of different theories about how to help your teens focus. Most people have trouble deciding what they are focusing on something because they don't know what to do first, right? So, oh my gosh, if you ever woken up in the morning and you're like, I'm going to do this and this and this and this, I'm a big list maker. And when you make a big list, that can either be a motivator to get things done, or it can be a distractor because what do you do first? And so most people can focus on things, but sometimes you have something that has to be done first, right? This is the most important thing that you need to get done because maybe you procrastinated or came up out of nowhere. That's the same thing for our teens. And sometimes our teens think, and a lot of people think, oh, we can multitask. You know, that idea of getting more than one thing done at a time. Well, that's a myth. Actually, what happens is your brain is turning on and off and on and off and on and off. And multitasking is actually not a great thing because you're not fully engaged and you're not fully thinking about what you're doing. So you have to switch your focus on and off and on and off. It's like if you ever watch a TV show and you have them both on like record or whatever. And so you go to one for a minute and one for a minute. You have to like catch up to what you were doing, and you have to catch up to what you were doing. And you may think, wow, I'm being so smart. But really, if you just concentrated on one, it would be better than if you went back and forth and back and forth. So how do we focus and increase our attention span? What we can do is this little 3-step process is from Warren Buffett, the multimillionaire. And he had a 3-step process. And he said, list 25 things that you want to get done. So he called them goals. List 25 things that you want to list, all the things that you want to get done. Then take 20 of them off. Now, if you are helping your team think about the 25 things, that 15 things or whatever that you want, that they want to get done, I wouldn't have them cross them off. Maybe write them on different areas of the paper or something and not erase them, but maybe they circle the top 5 if there's 25 goals. So the idea is take away 3/4 of what you think you have to do. Because can you imagine sitting down and doing your homework with 25 things that you have to get done? Then focus on, take away 3/4 of them and focus on the top 5. So write down everything you have to get done. Take away the ones that are not pressing and focus in on the top part of them and get those done. So that's what Warren Buffett says that you should do. And I actually feel like it's probably a really good idea, because what you as the adult in your teen's life has that helps you, I talk about what are the goals you have to get done, what do you need to get done, is you have that assignment, those assignments in both Canvas and the interactive report card. Remember, in Canvas, it's on the right-hand side of the screen. And in the interactive report card, when you click on the class and then you look at all the goals that they're working on, at the very bottom of that column is assignments and then incompletes. So you know what's being worked on and you know what's coming up. You have an idea of those 2 things. Now, you may not know anecdotally what other things, but you have a pretty good idea of the things that will be assessed, right? Formative or summative assessments that are taking place in the classroom. That's a really good place to start with a list. You may not want to look at that list every single day, like pull up interactive report card in Canvas. But if you make it a habit in your family once a week, you can at least get that to-do list done. And maybe they circle each day the top 5 things that they want to get done for homework to help them focus. Because there's a whole theory on focus called like the zone, or when you get into flow, and which seems kind of weird, but it's that time when you need to be productive and you really need to be active. And we're in the middle of that, like, oh my gosh, I have to get this done, right? So if it doesn't have to get done, but you're really productive, you're probably not going to do it. But if you're so stressed, you're like frazzled, you're probably not going to get it done. But there's that area in the middle, and which is called the zone in here, where you're focused, you know what you need to get done, you know your time frame, you have clear goals and outcomes for what you're doing. You're working on one thing at a time. So those 5, you're working on each thing at a time. You're not going between them. You're saying, okay, now I'm going to work on this assignment, or now I'm going to study for this exam. And you have to be very clear about what you're working on, so you're not switching between things. You don't have distractions. So that means you, as the adult in your teen's life, help them eliminate any kind of distractions. If they say, oh yeah, I could study in the middle of the central family place, but you see them like kind of being distracted by, oh, what everybody's doing, either you get everybody else out of that, sometimes that's difficult, or you get your teen in a way that they're not watching everybody. That might be where headphones or ear pods or something and listening to like symphonic music or something that doesn't have words to it may help lessen the distraction. And help your teen identify, like, when do you feel most active? When do you feel most productive? Are you best right when you walk in the door after school? Are you best maybe if you come home, you take a break and then you start working? Or is it after you eat and maybe you do a little bit of exercise? Is that best? You know your teen best when they're most productive, right? So they have clear goals, they're not distracted, they're feeling productive, And this is really important. Make it a ritual. Have the same place they sit down and they study every day. Same, like try to do the same time so their brain knows, oh, it's this time of the day. I'm really good. I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and they can focus. Because the idea that what you're supporting is not, did you get your 5 things done? It's the process. What you're doing as the adult in your teen's life is helping them set up the habit of mind around focus and productivity. You want them to figure out and find out for their personal learning, and we all learn differently, but how do they learn to prioritize the tasks that they need, cut it down to the most important things that they need to get done. Remember, they're not going to get all 25 done. They'll be up until 2 a.m. So and the way you can help them prioritize those things is through what is assigned in Infinite Campus, or excuse me, in the interactive report card and Canvas. Those are the 2 classroom pages. So that find a space where they are not distracted and they can focus, and help them prioritize what they need to do, identify when is the best time to do it, help them with the rest of the family that this is a study time. Maybe everybody studies at the same time or in the same area, so it's quiet in the house, right? And it's a good time for you to read or get focused or do whatever else that you need to do. And then you continue to reflect back with them on the process. What's working? What's not working? Remember, you are their coach. You're their guide. You are helping them build the habits of mind that they will take on with them after they get out of high school, to help them be productive as they go through high school. So you are helping understand what are their energy levels. Wow, you come home from school and you seem like you're really, really kind of tired. Maybe a little bit of water, maybe doing some physical activity, something like that. You can help them also not sit for like hours at a time. Break it into 20, 30, 40 minutes of study time. You'll be able to, as you watch your teen study, you don't have to sit there and watch them the whole time, but you'll notice a pattern. Like, are they good for half an hour? Are they good for 20 minutes? Do they need to take a break after 40 minutes? Everybody's different. So you'll be able to help them with that. Remember, it's always good to have a glass of water near you. I mean, if they're prone to like studying, or like if they're clumsy, put a lid on it so it doesn't get all over their computer, but have like water or whatever. So make it like a steady space. And remember, in the beginning of the school year, we talked a lot about setting up a space for your students. And if it's a common area space in your house, you may want to put everything in like a bag or a basket, or someplace that's not their backpack, but someplace that they know all of their stuff will be in the same place. I mean, a paper bag from the Jewel is perfectly fine, but someplace where they know their materials all will be in, so they're not distracted trying to find that either. And help your student know the difference between like, when am I working and when am I relaxing? So if I am working on work, I'm not on Facebook, or I'm not on Instagram, or I'm not on Snapchat. That's relaxation time. And you can maybe say, if they really need to work on something, help them set up a timer on their tablet or something where you work for 20 minutes and then set another timer for 5 minutes of checking in with their friends. Because we know that friends and social is super important to a teen. So that's fine. They can do both. They don't have to do one exclusively or the other, but there has to be that balance. And you are there as their helper, as their teacher, to help them look at both of those. Sometimes headphones are better for distractions than not, and make sure they have all their materials around them, right? So you are there as the coach. You are there to talk to them about that process quickly, not for like 3 hours. Like, do you have everything? Is everything in your place? How are you doing this? When do you feel like the most energized? What can we do? It may mean that if you have a hard and fast rule that you eat at 5 o'clock, but that's when your student has the most energy, maybe you kind of can see if you can look at that, push it half an hour one way or another. Maybe there needs to be some time for physical activity when your team gets back from school or whatever co-curriculars they may be in. So that's an opportunity for you to set expectations with them about what you need to do. Remember, we talked about like kind of figure out a space for them to be. What do they need to do? Prioritize what they need to do. Set up the environment, no distractions, take the cell phone, put it off to the side. I know they work on iPads, but you could set up that your iPad, you could ask the people in the smart desk to set up the iPad so they can't have any social media on the iPad if you feel that's a problem. But better is that conversation that you're having with your teen around what's working for you, what's not working for you, how can I help you focus on what needs to be done. The best thing is not a list of 20 things, break it into small groups of 3 or 4 or 5, because then you feel like, okay, motivated, I got all those things done. And if you find that your student has tons and tons and tons of homework, then maybe you need to have a conversation with the classroom teacher or the counselor around, maybe are the classes too hard, or did they take on too much, or maybe you want to talk to your student about how many co-curriculars they're in, because you do want to have a healthy balance. So I want to thank you all for joining me today to talk about how to help your teens focus. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about playtime and downtime and family time for our teens. I am going to share in the chat box a form. I'd love your feedback on if these family shorts are meeting your needs. It's quick, 3 questions. Did it meet your needs? Did it not? What suggestions do you have? It's completely anonymous. If you want to tell me who you are, it's fine too. But tomorrow we're going to talk about what's family, the difference between family time, downtime, and playtime for your teens. Really important for all of our teens to have all of them for good social emotional health. And I thank you very much for being part of today's discussion. Remember, if you missed part of this and you'd like to come back, it will be posted on the SHS Family Engagement YouTube site. Thanks so much. Have a good day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.